Guys, welcome back after a long hiatus. We are back. Front Page Esports is here, and we got a full show for you guys. We had one of the biggest weekends in esports, just period. So many amazing things happening all at once. We were barely able to keep track of all of it, but don't worry, guys. We have you covered. We got it all in this show for you guys right now. So, Frank, where do you want to start this one off? We have a lot to get through.
Well, we're starting off in the Call of Duty League, which saw its season wrap up this past weekend. And a new world champion, the Dallas Empire from Envy's organization, they will win the inaugural year of the Call of Duty League. A really impressive tournament for them, coming in as the 2 seed, taking out the 1 seed Atlanta FaZe in the grand finals. And what was a best of 9, Rob, everyone was kind of predicting it to go all the way. It was a 5-1 pretty dominating performance from Dallas. Atlanta got one map, were able to avoid the sweep, but it really wasn't out of Dallas's favor pretty much the entire time. It was a really, really strong weekend from them. Teams like Chicago Huntsmen, who are a really popular team as well. Everyone wants to know how the Huntsmen did. They came in third. It was a really strong showing. Scump, a legend in the Call of Duty community, probably had his best year in a long time and his best COD champs in a while. So shout out to the Huntsmen. They had a great performance, but just weren't able to get over the hump. And coming in fourth is the London Royal Ravens, who is another team who many people didn't expect to really make it far. Actually, in my preview show for COD champs, Rob, I didn't even have them winning a match, I believe. Maybe one, but I did not think they'd make it to the top 4. So a great weekend for them to show what they were about as we go now into the second season of the Call of Duty League. But overall, Dallas Empire, man, like I said, that was a great weekend from them. Congratulations to that squad for the $1.5 million grand prize.
Absolutely. And with that, the Modern Warfare season has concluded, Frank. Am I correct with that?
Yep, it is over. Modern Warfare is done. Moving on to Cold War next year. Yeah.
Very exciting, very good stuff. I saw the trailer, lots of views for the hype. And a big reason we saw some increased viewership for that Call of Duty League was because there were rumors of drops that were going to come out from the stream. Now, personally, I don't know anyone, and I know quite a few people who are on that stream trying to get those drops. I think there were very few, very selective with those, but maybe some people got them, but talking with people, I haven't heard that. But a great promotional opportunity for them for sure.
And you also look at some of the other things I obviously want to mention as we close out the COD talk here and we move on to other esports, because like we said, there was a lot. It was a huge weekend in competitive gaming. But on the COD side, I will point out the Dallas Empire team, individual accomplishments on that team are really important to also note when you look at the significance of this win. For Clayster and Crimsix, the 2 veteran players on the Dallas Empire, this is both their individual 3rd rings, and it kind of solidifies Crimsix in the minds of pretty much everybody in the Call of Duty community as the undisputed GOAT. I know we talked about Karma a while back on this show, but now there's another player with 3 rings, and Crimsix is one of only 2 players to have won $1 million in prize money playing Call of Duty. So shout out to Crimsix, probably the undisputed GOAT at this point of the Call of Duty competitive world. Clayster, a veteran of his own, probably on the Mount Rushmore of Call of Duty. And Shotzi, a rookie who won MVP this year in the Call of Duty League. A rookie on the Dallas Empire, is now a world champion at the age of 19 years old. A couple years ago, he won the Halo World Championship. He has won 2 world championships and 2 FPSs before he's even 20 years old. It's an insane accomplishment.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we'll see where he goes in the future, but Shotzi's just a player that you'll have to, I honestly think that he's so young right now, so talented, would not be surprised to see his name mentioned for a long time in the world of esports.
Absolutely, Frank. And you know what? There's just something that crossed my feed this morning, some breaking news in the Call of Duty League community. I wanted to get your thoughts on their transitioning back to that 4v4 format that popularized the sport to begin with. What do you think of this change? Is this the way it should be? Or do you need to see what Cold War is going to look like before we can tell if this is a positive development?
What I'll tell you with the 4v4 is that the 4v4 makes a lot of sense in the terms of the gameplay. Everyone loves 4v4 Call of Duty. It was kind of where it was born, and I think the game is better 4v4, especially for Search and Destroy. However, there is some, question marks, because if you go to 4v4 and you don't expand the league from 12 teams to around maybe a 16, that's 12 players who are going to lose starting positions. And 12 spots that aren't open. And as of right now, Slasher reported that they don't expect the league to expand to 16 teams, and obviously that's just a report. But without that, that's 12 people out of starting spots, and it's already hard for these young players to get into these starting positions as the league isn't growing. So, it's only the first year of the league. They say they might expand in 2022, but a whole year without expansion could really, it would mess up some people's trajectory of becoming professional Call of Duty players. So we'll see what happens to that. But I think if they're going to go 4v4, they need to expand.
Absolutely. And you were just talking about how good people those rookie players can be when they show up and they perform. And we definitely don't want to see anything that would discourage the best play that you can get in your league, especially when it's a new league. We definitely don't want to see anything slowing that down.
Yeah, and talking about best play, Rob, let's go to LCS. we had another historic matchup between longtime rivals TSM and Cloud9 and a best of 5. I mean, the result still shocks me, and I know you were going crazy on we were talking about it. You were going crazy on your own
Absolutely.
about it. So tell us what happened there with Cloud9 missing Worlds.
Frank, it's for the first time in the history of Cloud9 in League of Legends and Worlds, Cloud9 will not be attending Worlds. The team that was pegged as North America's best hope is not even there anymore. TSM just looked like a different team, fundamentally outplaying them, getting the best meta compositions. Just Doublelift was so strong, and Bjergsen really pulled out the carry. Even on stream, they were asking for recommendations. They were like, Bjergsen, who's your chiropractor? Because you are carrying the team on the back. 7-0 on the Twisted Fate. And then he pulls out the Zillion, and everyone knows Zillion is Bjergsen's try-hard pick. There's a hilarious moment where the Tahm Kench tried to swallow up the AD carry with the bomb on him. But when you swallow him as Tahm Kench, you don't put the bomb anywhere. So that was a free double kill.
Yeah.
The Cloud9 basically gifted onto the side of Bjergsen, and it's just a commanding victory from TSM. I'm so excited that for once Doublelift is on a competitive team that is heading into Worlds, but he's not their win condition. He's just a solid workhorse in the bot lane. They're not funneling the entire team's resources into him. Broken Blade is looking so commanding on that Jace top. And again, Bjergsen just really getting that priority. And finally, TSM learned how to play around objectives, forcing towers, forcing cross-map rotations. C9, frankly, just looked lost in that metagame, getting caught out, being late to rotations, just not what we wanted to see, and definitely not what we wanted to see from what was supposed to be the savior of the North American region in Worlds. But Frank, they're not even the only team that had like a ridiculous performance this week. FlyQuest also took Team Liquid to Game 5. I'm so unbelievably impressed with Wild Turtle. He went from basically being relegated, maybe even on an academy team, to being someone who is so consistent with that bot lane. Team Liquid, they were trying, Jensen, again, putting his heart out in the mid lane, but unfortunately, Team Liquid just doesn't seem to realize what comp they want to play on. They try to poke comp, but then they couldn't get that wave cleared down as fast as they needed to siege the towers, and then in that 5-on-5, they just were constantly mispositioned and were in bad spots to get the damage out. But then even on the Game 5, when they're doing a composition that's like a tired and true for them, they couldn't win either. And listen, as much as Tactical is just pouring his heart out, he's definitely Rookie of the Year. Had a crazy play that basically kept TL in the game on Game 4 inside their own base, 3v1, just a lot of good attack spacing, as Doublelift would say, in terms of being able to get that damage out kiting people as an AD carry. But unfortunately, he just wasn't strong enough. And now Team Liquid is still going to go to Worlds, but in order to possibly win the NA LCS final, they're going to have to go through a loser bracket. Meanwhile, FlyQuest, TSM, TL, these are the teams. These are the 3 from the North American region that are going to be heading into Worlds. And Frank, if you told me when we started this show that Cloud9 would not only not be the most dominant team, but wouldn't be making it to Worlds, I'd ask you, where you fell off from. But, it's 2020. This is nothing's expected. Nothing's going the way people expected, and certainly not for Cloud9. They must be devastated with their performance. Hopefully, they go back to the drawing board and figure out what was been going wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy upset. It's something that, like you said, nobody can ever predict when it comes to League of Legends and LCS. I mean, it's just like I know, like, I'm getting excited right now, but it was such a great weekend of esports, Rob. Like there's so many different storylines and so many different games. Now looking at CSGO itself, they had ESL1 Cologne obviously transitioned to online, and it's a little bit different. They were playing based on region rather than all of the regions coming together for one big Worlds tournament like they often do at ESL1 Cologne, but different times right now with the COVID-19 pandemic. Nevertheless, we had these matchups, and Heroic was able to win in the Europe division, Renegades in Oceania, and Tylo in Asia. And in North America, Evil Geniuses and Team Liquid went head-to-head for that first-place prize. Evil Geniuses were able to get the win, but it was one of the best CSGO matches that people are touting as one of the best matches they've seen in recent history. So shout out to those teams for representing North America and putting on an amazing show, even in the online format, still showing up at the highest level of competition.
Frank, I mean, I love Counter-Strike. It's definitely something that I'm into, and I like seeing it. But you know what? I'm a little bit of I have a little bit of bias. I think Evil Geniuses might have been the first team I ever saw in any esports setting, period, playing Counter-Strike. So, a piece of my heart always goes out to them, and it's really fun just being able to see teams play. But you know what, Frank? I feel like this is just even more evidence that the FPS genre is going to be getting a lot more viewership. Historically, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, in terms of esports viewership, it was really dominated by games like Dota, StarCraft, and League of Legends. And first-person shooters had a lot of immense play, but not necessarily the viewership. But I think with Counter-Strike on the rise, with Valorant, with the Call of Duty League, the first-person shooter genre is now just as established and just as popular of a force in esports as all these other traditional over-the-shoulder, LCS type games, or from the Dota 2 perspective, stuff like that. So I think it's just great because now there's more variety. And definitely in terms of a more casual audience, you are definitely able to understand what's going on your screen when you're watching Counter-Strike or Call of Duty compared to League of Legends. That's not saying they're bad, Frank. These are games that I love, and they're so fun. But just in terms of getting that mainstream appeal, I think this is so important, and I'm so happy to see this growth.
I mean, games like Call of Duty breaking viewership records of their own this weekend, and another game in the FPS category that you mentioned, breaking viewership records pretty much every single weekend, breaking its own previous records, it seems like at this point, is Valorant. And this past weekend, the Valorant community had the biggest tournament so far in Valorant esports. Sentinels able to get the win there in the finals over Envy. And we constantly talk about the growth of Valorant, and I think that right now you see a player like Sinatra leading the way, making that transition from Overwatch, and he was kind of the star of this weekend as well, for Sentinels getting that 3-0 win in the finals. What does it mean, you think, to an esport like Valorant, Rob, to see a player like this who was an MVP in a different game coming over now and helping grow this esport from the bottom up? And obviously it's Riot, there's great infrastructure there in the developer, but having a player like this kind of leading the charge after they led the charge in a different game, what does that mean for the growth of the game in your opinion?
I mean, it just means that, once again, there's a strong fan base that's going to migrate allegedly from his Overwatch career to watch and play this new game. I mean, hopefully it's a little bit more successful than certain other athletes pivoting to other sports. Michael Jordan, not a good baseball player, but let's not dwell on that. I think it's actually very interesting. It's very exciting. I want to see what other players can transition because, Frank, as we saw, not every game has the best carryover potential to Valorant. We saw 100 Thieves, and they're basically drafting an entire PUBG team, take them into Valorant. That
didn't
was not
work.
Successful.
Did not work.
No, not at all. So. But it seems that Overwatch has enough of those convincing elements, enough of that overlap where that skill actually translates and translates well. PUBG, much more of a slower paced tactical twitch shooter. Meanwhile, Valorant is all about those positionings and using those abilities. Abilities, by the way, that literally don't exist in PUBG. So yeah, there might be some logic behind what game, more of the hero shooter experience and having that counter synergy, being able to work with both crowd control, the utility, the vision, and having a DPS. These are roles that are established in Overwatch and not necessarily in those strict archetypes, because again, Valorant is really trying to break some of the molds, trying to do things to get rid of staples in the genre such as Peeker's advantage and stuff like that. But again, there's enough of that play where it's a more of a different flavor of ice cream as opposed to trying to cook spaghetti and then throwing that in an ice cream cone, which is what 100 Thieves tried to do. And listen, as much as we love the spaghetti taco in iCarly, it was not a successful recipe here.
That was one heck of an analogy out of you. I'm really impressed. That was good. That might be your best you've ever done on this show. That was good.
Thank you, Frank.
I'm really proud of you. All right. We listen, this was only the start. It's playoff season, as you know now. Leagues head into playoffs. Overwatch following behind. It's going to be a fun next month, few weeks, whatever, of esports as we head and close out the 2020 seasons here. I'm so excited. There's so many games to watch. Call of Duty not out of the way. I love COD, but now I have time to not be so invested in that, being that that's my baby. You gotta spend some more time when you're
Absolutely. Now I have time to go into Worlds. Worlds is going to be so fun to watch. I can't wait to have no free time because I'm going to be catching those streams, especially when it's overseas. I love waking up at 2, 3 in the morning to catch those games. Listen, nobody said it was easy. Everyone would do it if it was easy. We're dedicated. We're here for you, so you don't have to do that. So just know that for your Worlds coverage, you can look here at the front page Esports. We will have you covered. Analysis, post games. It's going to be a packed series of content. So guys, stay on the lookout for that. It's going to be real fun.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @Rob_Flaks and at @FrankSalerno_, and the hashtag front page esports on Twitter. I was tweeting along this weekend with Call of Duty. I'm sure Rob's going to have a lot to say about League of Legends as Worlds comes up soon. So thank you guys for watching Front Page Esports. We'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone.
See you guys.